Hi YouTubers, this is another video from your friendly neighborhood reviewer, Evelyn. Today we're going to be reviewing another Korean drama fantasy series called Destined with You. You can find this series in Netflix. It stars Jo Boya as the leading lady of Lee Hong-ju. Now let me tell you about Jo Boya. We last saw her in Tale of the Nine-Tailed Beast 1938. She did that cameo at the end, and of course she did the first season playing the reincarnated lover of Lee Dong-uk's character. And also I saw her military prosecutor Doberman. In this series, she has a completely different character change which left me stunned, of playing a naive, good-hearted civil servant that's low on the totem pole, that she's constantly either abused by people, ignored or bullied. She ends up finding out in episode 1 that she's transferred back to City Hall because she deals in the Department of Environmental Issues. If people need rubbish to be picked up, if people are littering, if things need to be demolished, how to improve the river system. So various things that in any other country they may or may not do, or looking after the environment. So she gets transferred back to City Hall, but she comes to the deep dark realization that she'll be working under her previous boss, which she, when offended, she misinterpreted something and ended up reporting him, which led to a lifelong vendetta that he has against her because of her sticking to the rules too much. We can tell from her character that she's trying a lot of Lee Hong-ju. She lives alone, she's lonely, and the main point that she expresses, she wants to make friends with people. Now, cut away to Rowoon, the main leading actor. We saw him in the fantasy series Tomorrow, which you can also find on Netflix. He plays the cold-hearted lawyer of Jang Si-yu. We get his perspective of the storyline in which he's working for a law company. He's taking on some shady clients that clearly are not great, and we see him very ruthless. A very stark difference of Rowoon's character from Tomorrow. So again, we can see with this show maybe his versatility for the actors to see if they can act a different way, maybe not just being typecasted. So he is incredibly successful, Jang Si-yu, but however, he has these hallucinations in which you see a red blooded hand caress his face. We can see some of the Netflix money there, we can see the special effects. It's like, you kind of feel like he's being seduced by this female poltergeist apparition that's attached to him. And amongst the hallucinations, we see from episode 1 to 2, he ends up developing some hand tremors and of course hallucinations. So he goes to the doctor and he ends up and he gets a brain scan, and the doctor tells him that he has some sort of aneurysm on his head, and apparently there's no cure, which leaves him scared, obviously. It makes him probably reflect on his life a bit. And we end up finding out that he comes from a rich family and that they own like this company called Harem. But we can tell he's not really liking his family and all the people in it. And we find out after a family member dies, he's there with his dad, and I assume this guy that's his granddad that has some sunglasses on. And they ask him about this shrine that apparently this being passed down by generation to generation. And they ask him if he's looked after it, and he said no, and they get angry, and he said they left in the charge of some shaman. Now, cut back to Lee Hong-ju. She's working with her team that they don't like her. They basically ice her out. You feel sorry for her. The personality-wise of this character is a little bit disconcerting at times, of how infantile some of the acting, some of the characteristics are. I can understand that if you live in isolation and you just living in hopes and dreams, you kind of misinterpret like what's going on physically in your life in that moment, and you kind of try to make it with Lee Hong-ju's character. I assume she's trying to find a silver lining in any situation. So she's there at the office, and this parents and some community members come to the office demanding that the shrine that Jang Si-yu is looking after be demolished, because we get another scene in which this young vlogger or ghost hunter for YouTube goes to the shrine to go and document something paranormal. He ends up getting freaked out, I guess unnecessarily, and take Final Destination. There's this big kind of like butcher's knife that's like being held this way on the floor, and our understanding is he died. It could have been his head decapitated or some sort of grave injury that caused his death. So the parents were demanding at the city hall to Lee Hong-ju's boss to get it demolished, but the boss was giving the company line. And then Lee Hong-ju, for being a good-hearted person, goes and steps in and she says that she'll solve the issue. Even her boss goes and whispers to her, can you really do that? Which she does. Now, through a series of investigations, she's trying to find out who's the owner of the house. Apparently, she thought she could help since the whole entire park is covered by an area called Onju. So she assumed that she can go to the people that manage the park to get it demolished. But she ends up finding out that patch of land where the shrine is, it's private property. So she ends up trying to ask the locals around the area who's the owner of the shrine. And for a series of investigations, she ends up at the shrine and it's raining. However, team member drives her there but doesn't bother to go with her. And she starts taking pictures of the condition of the shrine to prove that it's an unsafe environment. But in that moment, Jang Shiyu is also there at the shrine looking for things. Looking for this box actually. Now that's the main point of this series. There's this mysterious box that's locked, that has no keyhole and needs to be opened. So Jang Shiyu goes and scares Lee Honju and she ends up collapsing backwards and ends up getting knocked out. She mistakes Rowoon for a Green Reaper. Now anybody who's seen Tomorrow can see, you know, maybe a tongue-in-cheek or an Easter egg there. And she wakes up, she assumed that Shang Ji-yu was just a hallucination. But she ends up finding out that he's the owner of the shrine, but they have a very antagonistic relationship at the beginning. He doesn't really want to help her, but he does. He helps her by giving her the name of the person that the shrine is looked after, because apparently I think Jang Shiyu left officially the shrine being taken care of by the shaman, but however the shaman is in a nursing home. We can see she's paralyzed, this shaman person, and when Lee Honju goes to meet her, the shaman, she gives the blessing. And when Rowoon goes to meet the shaman, we can see that this shaman has real legitimate powers. She gives a prophecy to Rowoon, something about a curse. Now this is the first time in a Korean drama that we get a prophecy with a good ending. So the gist of it, some bad things that was continuing to happen like a curse will end and it'll be a good resolution. And when I heard that in so many other words, I was like, wow, first time we have a prophecy that's predicted to have a good ending. And he also says that the books that Jang Shiyu found, that he needs to return it to the original owner. And the shaman looks at him and he says, you know who the owner is? It's Lee Honju, which leaves him surprised. So at this point, we don't know what's inside the box. Anything we know, it holds a very high significance. So Lee Honju, unbeknownst to her, gets the box given to her by Shang Ji-yu. After we have a tearful scene of Lee Honju realizing that all the team members went to a family, well, not a family dinner, went eating together, drinking together, and they all lied, saying that they were somewhere else, so she's upset. And then at the end of episode 1, Jang Shin-yu goes and gives the box to Lee Honju. So through episode 2, we see through Destiny that both characters are together, but of course we see that Jang Shi-yu's only interest is for Lee Honju to open the box. Now through a montage of mistakes and whatever, the box does open, but it opens from Lee Honju's deep desire of needing somebody. And when she opens the box, there's a book, and in the book has different spells. At first Lee Honju laughs it off, saying how ridiculous it is, and by the end of episode 2, she only does the love spell because she wants to have a boyfriend. How do I feel about that? I think she could have maybe have chosen other spells of fortune, this and that, but she does that. But at the end of episode 2, as she's doing that spell, and Jang Shi-yu is driving to, I believe at the end, driving to Lee Honju's place to see about the book, we can kind of see that that's when the connection is made. Because in episode 2, she also tells Jang Shi-yu that she's opened up the books, there's the book, there's the spells, and also he ends up finding out there's a spell for cure of diseases. So Jang Shi-yu is also very anxious to see the book because he wants to be cured of this disease that's ultimately going to kill him. What do I think about the first 2 episodes? The pairing was different, so it was a different taste to that, but it was a little bit disconcerting. Joe was kind of like infantile acting as the character, but I get a sense as the episodes progress, both characters will mature and develop. Anyway, as I leave you always, stay safe. To any new viewers, if you reached to the end, I really appreciate if you can hit the subscribe button, leave your comments down below, and as I leave you always, bye!